What this means is that consciousness gets to remain special, in the sense that it's non-physical, but it no longer has the ability to affect anything, physical or mental. Not only can it no longer cause any physical events, it isn't even perpetuating itself by causing mental events. Consciousness, although separated from the physical world, is still entirely bound to it. It's just a result of physical causes and effects. But since consciousness itself has no effects, this has some very bizarre consequences. A person could have no consciousness whatsoever, no self-awareness, no mental events, and yet they would act as though they did. In fact, there would be no way to distinguish them from a person who actually is conscious, because we've once again gone and placed mental events into a separate immaterial realm that can't be observed. So really, anyone can appear to be conscious, but this is no guarantee that they actually are. There could be people just walking around and acting as though they're conscious because the physical events are still taking care of everything, it's just that the mental events have vanished. You may have noticed that these successive forms of dualism have grown closer and closer to plain old physicalism, while still trying to preserve consciousness as something special apart from the physical world, even when it comes at the price of these absurd side effects. But as I said, people have a strong tendency towards dualism, perhaps in large part because the consequences of physicalism are too unpleasant to contemplate. It's uncomfortable to realize that when your body dies, you die, permanently. You meet your end and cease to exist forever. You aren't going to go anywhere because there's nowhere to go. Not only that, anyone who has ever died is gone forever. They no longer exist and will never exist again. That is the cold, hard reality of what death really is. Some people may find it unsettling to contemplate that their conscious awareness that they're experiencing right at this moment, is the result of billions of nerve cells squirting neurotransmitters back and forth, and nothing more than that. We'd like to think that we're something more than that, something above that, because realizing that what you're made of is no different than what the rest of the world is made of can induce a profound discomfort. Knowing that all you have is what your brain is made of without any sort of backup or parallel immaterial consciousness or afterlife to move to if anything bad happens can trigger a sense of great vulnerability. This is your brain. It is the totality of what you are. You only get one. And if you break it, you are screwed. That is, if you're still around to even realize it. Many people simply cannot handle this. The mere possibility frightens them so badly they will turn away from it and run screaming, "No, no, it can't be. There must be something more than this. There has to be. Something, anything at all. Please." They are horrified by this, because to accept physicalism is to lose one's soul, in a sense. But really, one never had a soul to begin with. And coming to terms with all of this can be a long and difficult process. But physicalism does not mean living in a bleak, dismal, and hopeless world. Far from it. Because once you've begun to truly understand what physicalism entails, you'll have some incredible realizations, and you'll see that it opens up so many wonderful possibilities for our purely physical world. Think about what it means to be conscious. Yes, what you are is a few pounds of organic matter inside your skull, and yet you're still conscious. What this means is that there are certain configurations of physical material that support consciousness, that encode, embody, enable consciousness, that are consciousness. Very complex configurations, but ultimately it's still nothing but physical material. No special sauce is necessary. And I find this to be so amazing. I personally could spend hours just introspecting on my own consciousness, marveling at the fact that I have awareness. I'm experiencing things, thinking, perceiving, living, being. The fact that I exist fascinates me. And really, I think that's special enough. I don't need my mind to be part of some untouchable magical realm parallel to the physical world. The fact that matter and energy alone can be shaped into patterns that are conscious is far more than just special. It is a beautiful, glorious truth. Now, think about what is possible due to consciousness being implemented entirely in the physical world. It is accessible. It is available to us. It is open to being studied as thoroughly as possible. All of it, everything that consciousness is already there. We'll never have to worry about running into some metaphysical roadblock where part of it is immaterial and forever off limits to any kind of research. All we have to do is untangle those synapses, so to speak, and finally figure out how consciousness works. And we've been working on it, but we're not there yet. We understand how the brain works on a low level, how the cells work and communicate. We're also working out how it functions on a higher level, what the general areas of the brain are responsible for. Now we just need to figure out the details of everything in between. We need to fill in the blanks. I honestly think there needs to be a crash program for neuroscience research in the style of the Manhattan Project to fully understand the entire brain, consciousness included, as quickly as possible. Because really, we don't just need this right now. We needed it yesterday. Think about what we could do once we have the entire picture of how our brains work on every level. When we know exactly what the brain is doing, we can start playing around with it, adjusting it, modifying it, enhancing it. No longer would we need to rely on crude chemical sledgehammers like stimulants and antidepressants and antipsychotics with all of their attendant side effects. We could see what's actually causing problems like ADHD and depression and schizophrenia and correct the root cause itself instead of trying to handle the symptoms. And beyond just repairing defects in the mind, understanding consciousness is important because human-level consciousness represents intelligence, and intelligence is powerful stuff. It's often been said that knowledge is power. Well, intelligence is the ability to comprehend and synthesize knowledge, to utilize it and apply it in new and innovative ways, to develop plans and follow through on them. Intelligence is the reason why we advanced from automobiles to nuclear submarines in 150 years. Intelligence is the reason chimpanzees and dolphins wouldn't be able to achieve such technological advances in 150 years or 150,000 years. Intelligence is the power to solve problems and improve things. So why not apply this problem-solving ability to consciousness, the very source of intelligence? I'm talking about upgrades, enhancement of our intelligence, which in turn enhances our problem-solving abilities, which can be further applied to enhancing our intelligence, and so on. The loop closes and becomes a cycle of recursive improvement.